a force unbroken, with banners high and hearts awoken. The sound of pipes, our war is calling. Like thunderous waves, our duty is falling. Stand tall, together we fight, with courage found in every breath. We'll fight like lions, defy our death. In unity our hearts shall sing, the legacy of warriors through every reign. With battle cries we forge our fate, in fields of valor we elevate. As shadows loom, our spirits gleam. Brothers in arms, we are the dream. Fearless, we take the night, with courage found in every breath. We'll fight like lions, defy our death. In unity, our hearts shall sing, the legacy of warriors through every reign. As dawn breaks, we know our name.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being patient with us this morning. Yeah, we had some technical issues this morning with the internet, and of course, I decided to try it a little bit later today, and hopefully everything will work out, okay? So, that being said, I'm going to get right into the thick of it, okay? I'm going to do the disclaimers and all that, and I'm going to get into the chat and say hello to everybody, and then we're going to get into the thick of things with ghost cars and ghost ships. Okay, so just sit back, relax. I hope you got your coffee. I've got a pot of coffee made again, and I am hyped up on caffeine, so it's going to be a heck of a podcast. We might even go off the rails a little bit. So here we go. All right. The disclaimer is that this channel may use some copyrighted material without specific authorization of the owner, but contends that it falls under the Fair Use, which is the Copyright Act of 1976. Nighthawk I Strange's podcast channel and all the podcasts on the channel declare fair use of any and all content to be used for the purposes such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research, parody, and entertainment value under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Otherwise here known as the fair use. All right. Then we're going to do this one again. All right. As always, I claim fair use of all content under the Copyright Act of 1976. Furthermore, I wish to acknowledge that not all the opinions and theories mentioned during the podcast are not necessarily the opinions or views of Nighthawk I Strange's podcast channel or AKA William Nighthawk, but usually they are for me though. So, because you all know I'm a little weird like that. All right. So, that being said, we at Nighthawk I Strange's podcast channel, YouTube and Facebook channels merely bring the open format to discuss the possibilities of topics happening in the past, present, and future. Please join the Nighthawk I Strange's YouTube channel family by subscribing, and please hit that like button, okay? Join the chat, say something respectful, or just say hi. It doesn't matter, as long as you're respectful in chat. And please put all your questions in capital letters only. Okay, that makes it easier for this half-blind Indian to see it, okay? So, that being said, I'm going to take that off of there. All right, and we are going to get into the thick of it after I say hello to everybody. Let's see who we got in there already. We've got Urso, good to have you in there, brother. Rain, good to see you. Henry, good to have you. All right, who else we got? Woo Rider, Ray, good to see you. Candy, good to see you. And Candy's been waiting a while. Michelle, good to see you if you're still in here. Okay. And I'm sure others will join us. But we're going to go ahead and just get right into it. Okay. If they don't join us, they don't join us. Okay. Eric won't be here either today. So that it is what it is. Okay. That's the problem with having one internet company. So, all right. Bounty, good to see you. We are going to discuss, we're going to get into the thick of it. We're going to talk about ghost ships to begin with, okay? And we all know that there's quite a few of the legends out there of ghost cars and ghost ships. There's vehicles seen all the time with no driver, late at night on backcountry roads or rural routes that have that mysterious, spooky story about somebody, dying on the road in their vehicle and seeing the vehicle's phantom car or whatever, or pickup truck drive by and then turn around and can chase them. We've all heard those stories. Okay. And of course there's the old movie, Christine, which is another good one. Okay. So, but that being said, what we're talking about kind of correlates with what we talked about late last night. Okay. Now, ghost ships, especially this one, is very, very well known. Okay. The Mary Celeste. Okay. For over 150 years now, it's been a mystery. Okay. Let me get to my notes here that I typed. The Mary Celeste was abandoned in the Atlantic Ocean and boarded and found completely empty, with even the evening dinner place settings still intact. Everything functional. Nothing was damaged or removed. But no people were present on the Mary Celeste. Where'd they go? For over 150 years, it's been a mystery. And for over 150 years, the Mary Celeste has been seen in the Atlantic Ocean, northern Atlantic Ocean, coast of Maine, New England, New Brunswick, all that whole area up in there has been spotted. Okay, all the way down into New Jersey waters. So, what happened to the crew? What happened to the people that were on that ship? That's the thing. Okay. And you all remember that Hollywood movie called The Fog, which was based off of the legend of the Mary Celeste. Well, half of that legend was completely bogus. Okay. So, but now we're going to get into the Flying Dutchman. Another very, very famous legend. Okay. The Flying Dutchman is a legendary phantom ship whose captain was doomed never to see port for eternity. In other words, he was cursed, which led everybody on board the ship to be cursed, which I believe was 33 crew members to be exact. Okay. Imagine being cursed and having to stay at sea for eternity. Again, it goes back to the waters theory that I have about, the supernatural connection. Let's just put it that way. Okay. So I believe wholeheartedly that what we're dealing with is some kind of supernatural attachment to these vessels. And if you notice, it's like my previous shows that I've talked about on haunted objects and possessed objects. Whenever you give something a name, you're giving something the opportunity to possess that object, whether it is alive or not. That's why a lot of doll possessions are happening. Okay. Well, you have that same theory with cars, with automobiles and trucks and vans being named, with ships and planes and stuff being named. Everything that disappears without a trace and is seen again phantom wise has been given a name. So it's a supernatural connection, in my opinion, to these ghost ships and to these ghost cars and trucks and vans or whatnot that we see, okay, occasionally. And here's a couple more of the ghost ships that have been spotted around. How many of you know of the Bay Chimo? It was an Arctic cargo ship that became trapped in the ice in 1931, but continues to be seen and even boarded decades later. In fact, it was seen even recently, within the last 20 years, still encased in the Arctic ice, completely abandoned, no damage to it whatsoever. When the crew went back the next day to gather evidence on what happened, it was gone. Imagine that. Imagine that. Phantom ship, ghost ship, check. All right. How about the MV Joyita? Okay. A merchant vessel found partially submerged in the South Pacific in 1964. Months after setting off on a short voyage with its crew of 25 members completely missing. Once again, how does a crew of 25 and a captain disappear with no signs of forcible removal, attack, piracy, nothing? Everything's still intact and in place. Quite the mystery, if you ask me. Quite the mystery. So I'm curious to see what you all say in the chat. I'm going to go back to and pop up a few pictures. Here is a rendition of what the lost Flying Dutchman, the legendary phantom ship, looks like. Kind of creepy with the moon in the background. A super moon at that. Let's see. What else have we got here? I really do believe that the water is key. Believe it or not, guys. I really do. And the fact that every vessel that has been, hey, Bigfoot Dwarf, Unreal, good to see you. Carl, good to see you. Judy, good to see you. Corey, good to see you. Candy, good to see you again. I really do believe that once you name an object, whether it has been alive or not, you give that object the ability to be possessed by supernatural forces. Okay. I'm not even going to say demonic because it doesn't even necessarily have to be demonic. Okay. And when you're dealing with the paranormal field, you're dealing with a lot of people pointing the fingers at demonic. Well, you know what? There's more than demonic you need to worry about in the supernatural realm. Okay. A lot more. Okay. So when you name something, whether it's a doll, whether it's a car, whether it's a boat, a ship, an airliner, private jet, you're giving that supernatural presence the ability or the invitation to take over and possess that non-living thing because you gave it an identity. Think about it. You gave it completely an identity. And that's why we have a lot of these ghost ship sightings, these ghost car sightings, and so on and so forth. And then you got to consider, where did the people go? Well, if it's actually a supernatural encounter and there's no sign of the people disappearing, then you are looking at some kind of a supernatural portal, maybe, that took them up and basically they're gone from this dimension. Just a theory. Think about what we talked about last night on Into the Red Rabbit Hole. It's just a theory. But it kind of does make sense. Okay. So. Oh, that's perfectly fine, Corey. That's perfectly fine. You ain't the only one that cut out on the old Indian. So that's no problem. This old man's getting used to these young bucks not sticking around. Okay, let me get that picture off of there and I'll get back to the chat. I'm going to put something else up. Here is the notification that I got on some of the research with some of the ships that I just talked about. Okay. The Beijino, the Flying Dutchman, the Mary Celeste, and the MV Joyita. Okay. And these are just to name a couple. I mean, there are literally hundreds and hundreds of legends out there of ships being abandoned, even on the Great Lakes. Especially when you have the tragedy that happened to, the freighters on Lake Superior. And it happens all the time on Superior too, which, the Great Lakes Triangle, there you go, possibly another gateway. I don't know, man. Things are starting to add up a little bit too much when it comes to the supernatural and what's going on throughout history. Okay. And we could look at other viable options to what's happening. But in my humble opinion, it's all caused because of supernatural powers. Okay. For what's going on. Whether you want to call them fallen angels, whether you want to call them Anunnaki, it doesn't matter to me what you want to call them. It just doesn't matter to me what you want to call them. Archons, reptilians, it doesn't matter, okay? Demons, angels. To me, it's all basically lumped into the supernatural category, and giving them individual names is pointless. Okay. Because we have no concept of that kind of a state of being until we leave this body, plain and simple. Okay. Now you take in consideration that by today's standards, okay, you're going to have, there's legends of gravity hills all over the place, where if your car runs out of gas and you're at that bottom of the incline of a hill, just turn your key off and take your foot off the brake, and forces will push that car up the hill. And there's several locations around the United States where that happens. Okay. One of them is in northeast Pennsylvania, as a matter of fact. Okay, Gravity Hill. So very well known one. There's one in down south that they push you off of the railroad crossing tracks. And what it is said to be the supernatural ghosts of a busload of children that were unalived by a train on the tracks. And they literally pushed the car off of the tracks to safety so nobody else gets killed or unalived. Okay. There was a crew of paranormal investigators that went out and checked into that and investigated that location. And what they did, they did my old trick, and this is an old paranormal trick with baby powder. You put baby powder all over something, and then you put an object in the center and ask whatever it is to move it. Okay. Well, that's what they did to the back end of this car. They put baby powder all over the car, the back end of the car. And when the car started moving, they didn't notice that the powder was moving, okay, on the back of the car. Well, come to find out, after the car was pushed to safety, the occupant of the car got out, the investigator, and the other two researchers, investigators came up to the car, and they noticed that there was dozens of small little childlike handprints on the back of the vehicle. Makes you wonder, huh? So when I say something is supernaturally connected, I mean everything is supernaturally connected in one way, shape, or form. Whether you manifest it to happen, or I manifest it to happen, or naming an object manifests it to happen, it's going to happen supernaturally. It's an open invitation, plain and simple. So I'm going to get back to the chat and see what you all think. Sorry, Urso, I got to put my spectacles on. I can't read the small print anymore. Give me a second. I've been to several states, including North Carolina, where there have been a story like that, but the original event happened in Texas. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, but that still doesn't take away the factor so that these things are happening. Okay, they are legitimate. It's kind of like the you never heard of any other ghost lights out there in the middle of nowhere until people started talking about the Brown Mountain lights, and then you got the Martha lights, of Texas and all that. So, I mean, all these other people don't start talking about these things happening until somebody gets the balls to say it themselves, to open up that opportunity to discuss it and to say, oh, well, that happens here too. We have a location here. So that could be a factor too into why a lot of it seems like it's fabricated. Okay, because there's all kinds of places. I mean, even the legend of the Headless Horseman was said to be a hoax, but it's been proven. Okay. So that being said, let me see what you all think. Come on now. Give me your opinions. Carl, I know you got something to say. I would not want to go back in time and through the portal somewhere. I have no toilet paper and bug out bag and clean out. Carl, that sounds like a very, very TMI type of a conversation there, brother. Okay. You might want to just reconsider, taking extra undies and toilet paper with you wherever you go. Okay. Just saying, I'm sure you can even put it in a package and mail it to yourself. So, all right. What else we got? More than a couple of them unreal. More than a couple of those lake dragons. You got Ogopogo, you got Champlain, you've got Lake Erie, the Lake Erie monster. Just all kinds of them. And that could be something that we need to explore when it comes to a lot of these ghost ship sightings. But it doesn't hold a lot of water to be the 100% reason for this happening. Okay. And the same with haunted cars or ghost vehicles. If you think about it, the locations where most of these so-called ghost vehicles are located are in locations of a tragic event, whether it was a car accident, whether it was a psycho serial unaliver that was chasing people and got unalived himself and basically haunted that strip of roadway. It does happen. Okay. And you know what the first actual supernatural encounter on any back road was? One guess. The legend of the devil at the crossroads. Yep. Going to the crossroads and making that deal with Papa Legbo. Yeah. Think about it. That almost would be considered the first supernatural roadway encounter, opening up the plethora of all the other encounters that people are having with ghost vehicles and being chased by ghost vehicles and all that. So yeah, it kind of makes sense. The birth of a legend, and it continues today. There's a canyon in southern Utah. Hold on, I got to get my spectacles back on, Bounty. Oh my goodness. Okay. There's a canyon in southern Utah full of the type of stuff. So it spreads from North Utah to southern corridor. Same in North Carolina all the way into North. What is that? North Colorado all the way into New Mexico. Is that what that is? Interesting. Again, remember, gateways can be as big as a continent. They don't have to be little tiny little garage door openings. These people see, that could be what they see with the human eyesight, but the object that's opening could be so much bigger that we can't see because it's at such a higher vibration. It's like you're having multiple locations manifest a gate that all lead back to the original location. True. Very true. Muchetti, good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see. Little tourist hubs spots are dropping in points. They are around bigger drops in points. Do you No, we can't get into that. Yeah, Chesapeake, Lake Champlain. Yeah. Chesapeake Bay. Yeah. And of course, Nessie. We all know Nessie. Yeah. There you go, Candy. Tell them. Back like a Girl Scout. Oh, too funny. Oh my God, you guys are killing me. Literally. Oh. Oh God, you guys are slaves, I'll tell you. Oh my God, you guys are right. All right. So that being said, ghost ships. What I'm waiting for, and this is going to be the next one. Maybe I'll even manifest it. What do you guys think about ghost spaceships? Now that would be cool. That would be really cool to see a ghost haunted spaceship. Yeah, buddy. Little green alien ghosts running around or flying around with their little sheets on, 2 sheets to the wind. That would be pretty freaking cool. A haunted spacecraft. Now watch, it's going to happen. You see. Mark my words, somebody on the internet will run with it and say, I videotaped a ghost spaceship. Mark my words, it'll happen. It'll happen. The types of areas are all around the world, water and land. They just connect them to. Yes, that's true, Bounty. Very true. Very true. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up to you guys. You guys are commenting too dang fast. Wow. I didn't realize everybody was this bored on a Saturday afternoon. Yeah, Bounty, you gotta use small vocabulary. Okay, and sometimes you gotta speak real slow and soft so he can understand. That's a joke, Carl. I'm teasing. Oh, don't say the word zipper around Carl. Oh my goodness, Bounty, you're gonna get us all in trouble. I don't know what area you guys are talking about, Bounty. Yeah. But you know what? That would be freaking cool to see an actual ghost spacecraft. That would be. And watch, somebody's going to run with it, Candy. You watch. Mark my words, somebody is going to run with it. They're going to go with that concept. The AI stuff will be popped out on the screen. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Corey or somebody sends me an AI video of a haunted spacecraft. I guarantee it. I could see Carl doing that too with a package in it. So what does plausible mean? Oh my God. Oh God. God bless you, Carl. Oh. Sorry, I'm trying to read your comments and drink coffee at the same time without my glasses on. So, no, this won't be going for an hour though. This is probably just going to be a short video today, a short live today. Okay, guys. Well, good. I'm safe. Corey doesn't have any AI there. Let me see here. A person woke in their astral form may possibly actually be seen by someone in the waking world as a UFO orb, cylinder, cigar, or beams. Well, yeah, I mean, only the person that is in astral form is going to know how they're going to be seen, if you know what I mean. Um, our vision to see things is like 0.035% on the whole spectrum unreal. So yeah, the whole visual thing when it comes to being a human, we are so left out of the abilities that we should have living in this world. And it goes back to that, you know, what I said several, well, it was probably last week, I believe, last Friday, where I talked about the parallel worlds, you know, and how when we die in one, everything's existing in the same point in time. Okay. But we just can't see it. Okay. And when we die in another parallel world, a little bit of that gets distributed on down the line. Okay. Like a waterfall type of an effect. Okay. A little bit of us gets deposited on each parallel world where we're at. Okay. And I think that also leads to a lot of what we have with deja vu and the Mandela effect and stuff like that. I really do. So, and again, that's just my opinion, you know, from what I've gathered and researched over the years. So that and $5 might get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks. God knows how much they are nowadays. I know they're not $5 though. Probably more. Let me go back to the chat. I wanted to get that off of there. Sorry, guys. This internet is really, it's sketchy, man. They haven't dug up the internet cable line yet. So until they do that, and I'm not looking forward to it because I got a funny feeling when they do that, I'm not going to have internet for a while. So, and we all know what happens when that happens. I'll have to use my cell phone in order to even do a show. And won't be able to interact with you guys as well on a cell phone because the screen's like that big compared to the screen that's this big in front of me. So, but yeah, it is what it is. Last night on Redacted News with Clayton Morris, he talked about med beds, and it was good. It was good with a guest. I'm not big into med beds, though. I don't know. I don't know enough about the whole med bed thing. I've been doing other research, but my brain's always what I lack in physical energy, I make up in brain activity. Let me tell you, 24/7, my brain's going. I believe so. I do. I think that every dimension and every parallel world can see a little bit different. It's like the old saying of why we as indigenous people sit in a circle whenever we talk to you know each other. So um, you see it from a different perspective when you sit in a circle around something. Okay. And then if we gather up and we take a break and we come back, we always assume a different position within that circle. So we see from a different point of view. Okay. It's the same thing with parallel universes and parallel worlds, I believe. Ourselves in these other universes and other parallel worlds are going to perceive things, but they may perceive things a little bit differently. But it's the same thing that they're perceiving, if that makes sense. Let me catch up here. I got way behind in the chat. I don't doubt it. Hopefully it all doesn't go down. Shitter. Yeah, well, I don't think any of us, Candy, are ready for it, to tell you the truth. But honestly, the way things are going, it's almost like it's definitely meant to happen. Okay. Hey, Josh. Yeah, see that happens a lot too. That's I don't, and a lot of people talk about reincarnation and the whole soul trap thing, but I don't, here's my perspective on that whole reincarnation and soul trap thing. What if the whole reason of our souls possibly being recycled is so it goes from a parallel world that we were living in that vanished somehow or got destroyed somehow, and our soul went on into the next parallel world. I mean, if you think about it as the domino effect, okay, you take a row of dominoes, okay, and you know how you hit the one and it goes down and hits the next and it hits the next and it hits the next and so on and so on. It's kind of like that theory when it comes to parallel universes and worlds, okay? If we are unalived in one, what's to say our soul can't go to the next one? Maybe that next world is a soulless world. And when our soul enters that body, that's where the deja vu happens. Now it's just a thought, okay? It's not even a theory. It's just a thought. So, but yeah, kind of like the domino effect. That's really small. All right, hold on. William, something was interesting with Danielle Diva's live podcast. It would only do it when someone was speaking. One of the panel members said a prayer, and I heard it laughing. Now, how much more proof do we need, man? Come on, brother. You know that. Everything is connected and caused from the supernatural. Sorry, that's just the way it is. Everything paranormal is caused or a reaction or some kind of residual energy of the supernatural. Okay. They just call it paranormal because it's not normal. Plain and simple. Okay. So, supernatural, I guess, sounds too religious. So, let me see what Unreal says. A person who is in their astral form of light in some shape or form or fashion may be seen as an aura light. Sorry for my misspell a second ago. No, don't worry about that. I'm known for my misspelling. So I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed, but at least I'm in the shed. And I have been called a tool, so I have a good shot. There you go. That's all that counts, Candy. Collective soul. Very good. Very good, Unreal. That's exactly what I was describing. Oh boy. Well, if anything, I gave you all something to consider, you know, something to think about when it comes to a lot of these objects that we name, especially when it comes to automobiles, even motorcycles, boats, airplanes, you name it. Anything that you give a name, even a doll, you're giving it an identity. And in my opinion, from my research over almost 60 plus years of actually researching, technically, well, let's see, I started getting into the paranormal and supernatural stuff in the dark arts when I was 3.5 years old. So, yeah, almost 57 years. Almost 57 years worth of experience of dealing with the supernatural and the paranormal and even the cryptid stuff, because I grew up with that too. I have come to realize that the supernatural energies that exist have much more power and control of our world than what we are led to believe. Plain and simple. I don't know how else to say it, and hence reports of cryptids being seen in graveyards and cemeteries. I mean, on burial mounds and stuff. And we all know how I feel about burial mounds and sacred sites for Native people. When I was into the black arts with my parent that was teaching me the Native American black arts, I mean, hell, Spearfinger was nothing compared to her. Okay, I hate to say it that way, um, but it's true. Okay, how do I want to say this? I don't think I would have been born unless my father wanted a son so badly that my mother made a deal. Think about what I said. I'm not going to say it outright, okay? But my father wanted a son so badly that he might have provoked my mother into acquiring a deal through the dark arts, the Native American dark arts, for me to be born. That in itself is a freaky feeling, and that could have a lot to say about my abilities and my upbringing and my encounters with everything. And if that is the case, then if something could be brought forth supernaturally as a living biological being to this world, then why couldn't an inanimate named object be brought? Kind of makes sense, huh? I'm going to leave it with that. Okay, guys. It's been a long morning. We're going to go with the open mic tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Okay, for you guys to come on. I know Monisha wants to come on and talk about some things that happened that were supernatural and paranormal. Carl, if you want to come on tomorrow morning, that's fine. Corey, whoever wants to come on and talk about their encounter, just come on tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. for Supernatural Sunday Coffee Talk, and we'll get you on. Okay, we'll do it like we normally do. We try to do 15, 20 minutes at a time. Okay, so we'll continue with that. I might need a co-host tomorrow, depending on if Eric gets done with whatever he's doing today. So that being said, Corey, if you're available tomorrow, that would be great. Carl, even if you're available tomorrow, that'd be great. Urso, even if you want to come on, that's fine too, and be a co-host. That's fine. I put it out there to you guys, okay? We will continue this supernatural stuff tomorrow morning at 11. And thank you all for being patient. If you can, please hit that like button, okay, and share this out. I want to thank Urso. Roxanne, I don't think Roxanne's in the chat, is she? Hey, Marty. I haven't seen Roxanne in the chat, so she's probably with Eric and DA. Anyways, Urso, thank you for being a moderator today, and thank you to everybody for being in the chat. It means a lot to me. This was short notice, I know, but with this stupid internet thing going on, and it's hit or miss anymore with me. It's getting pretty damn depressing when you pay, the amount of money I pay every month for internet, and it literally sucks. So, but that being said, keep it up, guys. You're doing great. Hey, Dario, I'm sorry, man, my friend, my Italian brother. You got in a little late. I'm sorry, but watch it again, okay? When it comes to dealing with things in this world, the one reason I say all the time to question everything is because a lot of people, when they have an encounter, they deem themselves crazy, or they consider them being odd, okay, or not normal. And that's not it at all. That's not it at all. You're experiencing something produced from a supernatural event, whether it's cryptid, paranormal, or whatnot, okay? You're dealing with something that has attachments to extreme, powerful supernatural forces in every aspect of things that we encounter, okay? Why do you think the indigenous inhabitants of America, before the white man came here, thought about having that respect for everything, that not to treat everything like it shouldn't exist? Okay? So that being said, question everything, man. You guys have that right. Okay? Especially in today's world. Okay? And trust me, Henry, good to see you. Darcy, good to see you. When you actually experience it and you see that connection to the supernatural, you're going to realize what kind of world you live in. That's just the way it is. Everything that we encounter that is odd or paranormal or cryptid, I don't care what it is going to be connected to the supernatural powers that be in some way, shape, or form. a thought for the day. So I will see you all tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Open mic Sunday. Monisha, don't forget, you're coming on, okay? And talk about your encounters. And anybody else that wants to come on, you can come on, okay? We'll take them one at a time, 15, 20 minutes at a time, okay? Open mic Sunday. And question everything, guys, okay? You have that right. Thank you all for being here, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday or Sunday, depending on where you're at, okay? And I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow morning. Take care, everybody.
Through the mist we rise, a force unbroken, with banners high and hearts awoken. The sound of pipes, our war is calling. Like thunderous waves, our duty is falling. Stand tall, together we fight, with courage found in every breath. We'll fight like lions, defy our death. In unity our hearts shall sing the legacy of warriors through every reign. With battle cries we forge our fate, in fields of valor we elevate. As shadows